Hello, my peoples. Welcome to another episode of The Blunt Truth. I am your host, Full Circle 420. Today's topic, I want to touch on something. Was actually the topic's about life, part one. I want to touch on a subject I was watching on YouTube, and this one dude named the Poor Man's Podcast had this video. It's called African Millennials or something like that. I mean, you can find the subject on YouTube and things like that. Excuse me for a moment. I just ate an edible. It's fire. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this episode about this certain topic, it was a question that was posed about a young man wanting to know what do the African millennials think about mandatory DNA testing. Now, me as myself, I'm not exactly a millennial, nor am I exactly a X generation. I'm more of a Zennial. I come in between the X and the millennial. You know what I'm saying? I call ourselves the last real generation. And so, like I said, they want to ask them. They asked them a very. It's actually a very simple question. It was about mandatory DNA testing. Now, I could say there was four guys and four young ladies there. Beautiful young ladies, I might add. There's this one particular. She looked like old girl off of Black Panther. The bald headed one, the right hand side of of the Black Panther. Whoever rules uh Wakanda, if you will. But she was pretty, but soon as she opened her mouth, she went from a 10 to a -1 in less than 60 seconds. And the reason why I tell you this, why I tell you the reason why I say that is this. Now when the question comes up, I mean it's more. And I mean anybody who has a half a brain will agree that mandatory DNA test is actually beneficial and advantageous, not only to know that if the child is yours, but to know certain other things as well. And I'm gonna get to that too. So, the guy said, well, I think that's a good idea, but they didn't think, very deeply about it. It was like, well, I want to know if the baby is mine. I want to know if my girl's been cheating on me. I want to know my girl, my wife, or whatever. And I want to know if the baby's mine. And so when something happened between us, I agree to divorce whatsoever, I can't deny that no one can deny that that's that man's child because mandatory DNA testing is right after the birth of the child. You know. Okay, so as I'm sitting here looking at this video, right, and that one particular bald headed girl, and I don't mean call her. I mean she's bald. Meaning she has no. She shaved all her hair off, not bald head as, and she put chemicals in her hair, and it all fell out. She chose that hairstyle, which is was actually very wonderful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, woman, especially a black woman, want to shave her hair off, and she got the facial features for it. Oh yeah, it's lovely. But she wasn't though. You know what I'm saying? I'm just be honest with you. She was not lovely. And the reason, like I said, I keep coming back to that reason. The reason why I'm saying that is when it was talking about the subject, she went on this whole tangent, like, well, if the man don't know, the man might be cheating too. If he's suspecting that the baby's not his, and da-da-da, I don't think mandatory DNA testing would be such a good idea because I'm insulted by that. I'm like, wait, what? What? I'm like, I thought you was logical. Well, then again, I have to understand most women don't think a lot of they think of emotion first. And that's not, I'm not saying every woman, I just say some women that don't think logically first. They think with emotions first and logically second. While most women I know think logical first and emotion second. No, they think emotions first, logical second. But then the women I know think logical first, emotion second. And I say think logically because you got to understand all aspects of this DNA of this mandatory DNA testing, if you will. Okay. Now, me years of being, I used to be a medical assistant, so I'm very familiar. I'm familiar with certain medical procedures, and DNA testing is one of them. Now, not only, and then I would love to have been on that show, to be honest with you, because I could have shut that whole debate down in 5 minutes. But then again, people like me and certain other people who actually think and who actually analyze from all sides and also think logically too, have no place on those kind of shows because we don't debate. We speak cold hard facts, and we say, okay, so you disagree with this. However, what are you disagreeing with is not invitations for you to know that this man is your child. And not only if this man is your child, if this man is a genetic match to your children, just in case they need a kidney, a bone marrow transplant, or whatever. Also, if there's any genetic deficiencies with this child or with you or him. I remember back in the day, they used to do blood tests. It was mandatory in some states. I think it still is now. That's mandatory for you to get a blood test before you get married for the compatibility. Like if you have any disease, any dormant disease genes, if you have the disease for sickle cell or the disease for whatever kind of diseases though, you know what I'm saying? That's what it was testing for. That was before you got married. Some states stopped doing it, and some states still do. I don't know which states, but I'm gonna look that up as soon as I get finished this podcast episode here. So, so like I said, people like me don't belong on those debate shows because we'll end that shit quickly. Excuse me for a moment. I gotta check the water. This quality, these 2-0. Just joking. So, anyways, as I was saying, right, mandatory DNA tests will actually be beneficial to those to like the mother, the father, the children, whatever. Like I said before, it'd be cool for genetic traits, genetic defects. See if it's a see if you're a you're a genetic match for your children, just in case you need to give a kidney, bone marrow, a piece of your liver, or whatever. Though you know, and that would make rejection time little less prevalent, and you don't have to keep taking those rejection pills because due to the fact your mother and father are genetic matches for whatever you need. Also, say they get a divorce, right? And say this dude goes to get some milk and it doesn't come back for 20 years. Then all of a sudden he says, well, no, that's not my child. That's why I left 20 years ago. But wait a minute, sir. We DNA test you before you got out the hospital, and it matches 99.99999% that you're the father. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way not to get out of child support or anything like that. See, that's what the little girl didn't realize, that that question has so many levels to it. She just was stuck on that one. And then she was talking about men cheating and this and that and the other and this and that and the other, whatever. And so I'm like, this little girl don't know what the hell she don't know what the hell she talking about. That's number one. Number two, um, what she got to hide though, because women trip that hard about something that may be advantageous to them and maybe advantageous for the whole family. You said no, I don't want to do this. You keep harping on that. No, 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 no. Now I'm looking at you sideways. I don't think I can trust you anymore because if you going so hard about something and you don't know the exact mandates for it, then how you gonna be screaming, well then no, I ain't gonna do that and I ain't gonna do this and damn that test and I know I ain't cheating. Doesn't have and she understood it doesn't have anything to do with her cheating. It has everything to do with the fact of the matter is not only if it's I know this man can deny your child, can deny the children that he made with you. It can also bring about, like I said, genetic testing. It can also bring about um actually the if you take the stem cells from the umbilical cord from the baby, and here's the thing though, they can actually do some of those stem cells, like make another kidney, make another, whatever. And by that man, that woman being a match for that child, they also could take their stem cells, which is by the way, it indulges in the fatty tissue. They can actually take those stem cells, say you need a bone marrow transplant. Okay, father's here. Father says, is that genetic match for you? And those stem cells that they get from you could actually help him in the healing process. See, that is what genetic testing should be for. You understand what I'm saying? So, like I said, that was just something I was thinking about. Like, dude, how can somebody go that hard about something you really don't know what the fuck you're talking about? Let's just be real about that, though. Because like I said, the people most people only listen to respond. They don't listen to soak the information in. You know what I'm saying? Like, like for instance, it could be an author, a book. Like, hey, wait a minute, I got a good idea. What about the in between? What happened with this person, this person, this person, and why the situation like this? Because me personally, when it comes to writing, I'm one of those people where I gotta put. I guess you could say I'm more pedantic in my writing. I mean, I need to tell you every minute detail to lean up to the, which I really gonna have to stop, but it does make sense. It does make sense though. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, people, and I mentioned that because, like I said, people only listen to respond. That's all she was doing. She was listening to respond. She wasn't listening to soak in information and then add on that information. That's what a true conversation is. Now you have the opposition of the subject, then that's another thing, though. But there's one thing that nobody could disagree on that subject, which when it came to mandatory DNA testing, what I'm saying, nobody can disagree with the fact of the matter is it will be advantageous. And also it'll be covered under your health insurance as well. Also, did you know, like I said, when I was a medical assistant, I found this out like years ago. Did you know that when you have a baby in the hospital and you don't get it, and then so they send an itemized bill to your insurance company. One of those things on that bill, and I found this out back in 2002. One of those things on the bill, and and also they've been doing this for since since the 80s. They actually charge you, they actually bill you for skin to skin contact with your child. Let me tell you, when you to all the mothers that listen to my podcast, or their husbands listen to my podcast, whatever. Next time when you have a child, ask the hospital to give you an itemized bill of everything they bill your insurance company. And like I said, one of the things on the insurance company is to be skin to skin contact. It costs, I think, like between $75 and $90 for skin to skin contact with your child. Like when you first child was born, you hold your child. You know what I'm saying? That's skin to skin contact. They're gonna bill you for that because simple fact of the matter is you're in the hospital. And just in case something goes wrong, that's why they bill you for it. Anything go wrong from like 2 or 3 feet from the child to the mother, anything go wrong, your umbilical cord, you could have pulled something, whatever. I never only heard like maybe one case out of thousands that happened to, but it can happen. Anything can happen. So that's why they charge you for that skin to skin contact. Like I said, it's between $75 and $90. That mandatory DNA test, it will just be another added thing on your bill to give to the insurance. And I guarantee, here's the thing though, most companies, if not all of them, will agree to that because simple fact of the matter is there's too many people in this country, there's too many men in this country are paying child support for children that are not even theirs. As a matter of fact, I seen one thing on the news like a couple years ago where this dude was paying this dude was hitting this dude for child support for number one, a woman that he never met. She just picked the name out of well, I guess they probably met somewhere. She just seen the name and just picked, okay, this is the father of the baby. And the dude didn't even know this chick. But by him having that name on that birth certificate, she probably forged, by the way. But she ain't gonna get in trouble for that. The name on his name was on the birth certificate is the reason why he owes child support. But it proved 0% probability for that child to be his, and he still had to pay child support. This is how fucked up the whole child support system is. Men are paying child support for children that aren't even theirs. It's like, for instance, like say you married to a woman, right? Say you married to a woman, you've been married for I don't know, 16 years, if you will, and your child is 15, which is not unusual. So you already got that year before the child was born. So that in that case as well. This man raised a child for 15 years, and I seen this on another program. True story. This man raised a child for 15 years, come to find, and he wrote his name on a birth certificate. like I said, this is why the whole thing with mandatory DNA testing would be a good idea. Man, son, name was he had no probability. He didn't think his wife was cheating on him. He didn't have no probability. Like, well, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? My wife did cheat, so this is definitely my child. Look at it, my child. You got the same hair color as me. You got the same eye color as me. You got the same, skin color as me. And obviously, that don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? But yet, what he found out was he had this that 23andMe thing. Come to find out that the child wasn't even his. And he divorced his wife, right? Because she didn't tell him, like, wait a minute, the child might not be yours. She didn't tell me any of that. So they went to court. He got a divorce, and they still in with child support due to the fact because their state. I think it was like in shit, no, North Carolina. It was North Carolina. It was North Carolina, and by him signing his name on that birth certificate, I think it was South Carolina. By him signing his name on the birth certificate, but come to find out the child's not his, he still get hit with child support. Now that's fucked up right there, man. Because me personally, I am not. Me personally, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I am not paying for a child that's not mine. Nor I will acknowledge the paternity of a child that's definitely not mine. It's not the child's fault, but it is what it is. It would have been different if she had a child before they met. You know what I'm saying? You could be stepdaddy, father figure, whatever, but you'll never be a stepdaddy, father figure, whatever. But at the same, but it's like he's a stepfather to his own child. You know how fucked up that is? He's a stepfather to a child that he thought was his, but come to find out it wasn't. We still gotta pay child support. What kind of shit is that? Man, seriously, I'm so glad I don't have any children. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about that bullshit. I'm so glad, you know what I'm saying? Because me personally, I don't have to go to jail for that. I'm sorry, I would have to go to jail. They say, well, you'll be just when you go to jail. Then so be it. Give me life if you want to, but I am not paying a dime of money for a child that's proven not to be mine. Excuse me, I just had to get some more water. So I'm like, this is why that question kind of got me thinking, like, dude, mandatory DNA test will actually be a damn good idea, not only for me but for both of us as well, the parents, and the child. That'd be a damn good idea, but there's certain people that just don't want to, listen. There's certain people that don't want to, look at things logically. There's certain people don't want to look at all aspects, and that's where my whole name full circle comes from because I look at all aspects of the argument, and then I come with the objective conclusion that either something's a benefit, something's not a benefit. Either something's good for you, something's not good for you. But one thing I do not do is change anybody's narrative to fit my own. But at the same time, though, people arguing if women are arguing against it about mandatory DNA tests, what you got to hide? Or anybody arguing for? Well, it's not the men that's arguing for that. It's not the men that's saying, "Well, no, we should do." No, most 90% of men would agree with mandatory DNA testing if that was a thing, though, and that would just be another added thing on your bill. And guess what? Your company, when it comes to group insurance, especially when it comes to group health insurance, that's your job. That company will cover that because it's only an extra hundred. It's only another $100 that they're gonna have to pay out. And if you have one of those insurance companies that when you meet your deductible, they either give you 60/40, 70/30, 80/20, 90/10, or if you meet your out of pocket expense, they just pay the whole 100% if it's an in network provider. Like if you have a PPO, you get out of network benefits, but it won't be like it'll be like 50% after you meet your deductible. But I only know maybe a couple people met their deductible doing out of network procedures. But if you're in network, especially if you pay your especially meet your out of pocket expense, your out of pocket expense is what after you like basically what comes out your pocket after the insurance pays the after you meet your deductible, insurance pay either 80/20, 90/10, 60/40, 70/30, whatever. And then what's left is coming out your pocket. So that means your out of pocket expense. I have to just put that in there. So if you meet your out of pocket expense, then your company will pay 100% for that. If you're not really losing any money financially you're not losing at all. So I don't see why anybody would trip on mandatory DNA testing because it's going to be covered. Just believe me, it's going to be covered. Just like if marijuana become legal federally today, actually as a medication, it will be covered because you know how much money you will make. You know how much money the insurance company will make billing the cannabis industry for for quote unquote for medication. And now I ain't talking about that stupid ass medication that comes from a bottle. I'm talking about that real medication that comes from the earth. So, you know what I'm saying? Do you know how much insurance company will bill that shit for? And they will cover it, especially if one of their especially one of their employees take it. Oh yeah, they'll make money hand over fist. Just like this mandatory DNA test. And since it's mandatory, that means every territory that includes Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and Guam, if it's mandatory DNA testing, man, they will pay for that shit because they will make extra money off that shit too. You know what I'm saying? When they build insurance company pay that off, and then if everybody else do it, but here's they have to raise the insurance premiums higher though, if that's the case. So they'll still be making money and they're not losing anything. So if you look at the financial, the emotional, the physical, the genetic, and even the spiritual aspect of mandatory DNA tests, you will find out that is very advantageous for anybody to do it. Hell, I'll do it my damn self. Shit, even I know. I mean, me cheating doesn't have anything to do that if that child's anybody. And then, like I said, the I just got to cut myself off. The little girl was like, well, if the man wasn't cheating, he wouldn't have to worry about. Dude, I never in all my life, as I've been watching Maury, Steve Wilkos, Jerry Springer, what Phil Donahue, all those shows do DNA testing. Oh, even paternity court and all them other things. Um, even all those things that do DNA testing, I never seen a mother says, I never seen a woman says, well, I don't know if this child is mine or not because I don't know if I had this child or not, unless they got switched at birth, which you know that's most of the time that's only in Lifetime movies based off real true stories. I get that. Some babies do look alike though, you know what I'm saying? Got doppelgangers but not even related type shit. But that I understand. But that only happens very few far between. It does happen though, but chances are you'll be like that shit happens one out of every 100,000 person in the United States. You get switched at birth. I'm like, or in the world. Well, I don't know about the world, but in the United States, it only happens once every 100,000. There's only not even 400 million people in this country yet. So, you know, that unless that's the case, then there's no woman in this world would say, I'm not the mother of this child because I don't know if I had this child or not. That'd be bullshit. Like, come on now. Come on now. Let's be real about this shit, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's only up to the father to say, well, I don't know if this child's mine, so I want to do a DNA test. You do a DNA test, child's yours. Hey, cool, fine. Now you know the child's source. Now the disadvantage for the man is now you can't deny. Well, not even disadvantage, but it depends on the fuck boy mentality. Um, Now you can't say, well, it's not my baby. Yes, it is, sir. We did mandatory DNA. Just like I said earlier, 99.99999% this child is yours. So you got nothing to say. You don't have anything to say. Okay. You paying child support, no matter what. I don't care what you talking about. You paying child support because this child is yours. It's been proven that it's yours. It's been scientifically proven. It's been genetically proven. Well, scientific. It's been scientifically proven with the genetics that you and your child share that this is your child. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. It's your child. All right. Can't deny it. See, but like I said, that little girl was not thinking about that one. But now, like I said, I said earlier, you harp on so hard. Now I gotta look at you sideways, little girl. Now I gotta look at women like you sideways because you harping on something that you don't know anything about and you disagree with something before you actually listen. You might heard of what you were saying, but you didn't. You heard the question, but you didn't listen to the question. There's a huge difference. I can hear sounds, I can hear music, but I listen to the lyrics and the rhythm of that music behind those lyrics. That's the difference between hearing and listening. So yeah, that's like I said, that's the difference between hearing and listening. You want to hear the comment, you only hear the words, but you only listen, but you're not listening to the meaning behind those words or those words, period. Because if you were, you would not be so harping on and try to talk over every goddamn body saying, well, no, this is my point. Look, and that's another thing we gotta learn too, man. We have people sitting right next to us. We scream at the top of our lungs like they can't hear us. Like, dude, they're not deaf. And even if they were, they could still hear you. You know, so they can read lips. You know, they look at head gestures. But you don't have to scream loud there to make your point. We're sitting right here in front of you. That's the part we gotta understand, dude. We don't have to talk loudly to each other, though. You know what I mean? We don't have to speak loudly to each other, you know, because quite frankly, this is you know, it's oh, okay. A friend of mine's on live. Okay, cool. I have to jump in after this podcast episode. No, I'm just saying, like that's like I said, that's a subject I wanna that's a subject I want to get into because some fact of the matter is it's everything that she was saying was bullshit though, you know. But you know, that's another problem too. I mean, here's the thing though, right? I did a last week podcast with a friend of mine, and we was actually talking about Cameron Samuels. Now, here's my thing though, right? People like Kevin Samuels, Steve Harvey, Tommy Sotomayor, uh, you know, those so-called guru that even Umar Johnson, you know what I'm saying? And I met him back in 2015. I take what they say, I take what I can learn, what I can learn from. I take that and I just dismiss the rest due to the fact that man, it's something that's I'm not interested in. But one thing with Cameron Samuels, though, I mean, his delivery might be, you know, a little harsh, but then again, so is the message. Did you get the message? What he's trying to say? Did you get the message? What he's trying to do? And then I hear all these rumors, and I'm touching on this before I go. I'm hearing all these rumors that he's homosexual, he's this, that, and the other. Okay, I don't give a damn about that. What he does behind his closed doors, who cares? But let me ask you this: just because you call him homosexual, does that mean he's wrong though? You call him this, that, and the other. But one thing I ever heard anybody call him is wrong. And he's like, well, you know, women only call that show because look at the caliber of women concept. Like, dude, anybody in a healthy relationship do not call Kevin Samuels. It's only these I'm pretty sure wonderful young ladies in real life, but as far as I can see on one of those videos, I'm like, y'all a little too entitled for something that you haven't achieved yet. I mean, it's whatever though. I mean, I get what he's saying. I get why he's doing. I do agree with some of the things he's saying, but not everything. Though. I don't agree with just 100% on everybody though. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. That's like saying that's like, and to be honest with you, I don't even believe 100% of the words of the Bible. Let's be real about this. I believe in some of it, not all of it, but some of it. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I don't have to believe in all of it because most of the people who supposedly read the Bible don't believe in all of it either. You know, just saying. Either you believe in all of it, or you believe none of it. Period. In a discussion. I believe in some of it. I believe the stories and the spiritual aspect of it, but the whole talking donkeys and making bets with the devil and all this other dumb shit, yeah, I dismiss that offhand. But you know, I'm not an atheist or nothing like that. It's just, I mean, I think who you call God is more than what's written in a book. I mean, hell, if you think if you think what you call God is confined to a book, you have to follow the instructions of this man-made book, then it's not the religion that's the issue, it's the motherfucker behind it. So, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna touch on that subject I'm gonna touch more deeply on that subject next week's episode, hopefully. No, I think I already touched on that subject in my previous episodes, but if not, I'm gonna do it again. Okay, my peoples, this wraps up my I'm just doing a short one today though, 'cause I'm a little tired and I just ate an edible and I'm getting kind of zooted. So it's a Saturday night and I'm single, so I really not doing anything. Well, not well, I'm also gonna be working hard. I'm actually gonna be doing my article as soon as I get off here though, because that's definitely something I want to do. I love writing, you know. All right, my peoples. Stay tuned for next week's episode. We were talking about religion, tradition, and superstition, and marijuana, as usual. This is what the Blunt Truth is about. And just to let you know, this is what the Blunt Truth is about. We talk about all things and anything. Nothing's too, no subject is too taboo. Everybody gets talked about, everybody gets respected. If you have a right to be offended, then I have a right to offend. Let's just be real about this. This goes for straight people, gay people, bi people, transsexual people, whatever. Nobody's off limits. And I don't give a damn what you are. You are not off limits. If I clown you, I clown you though. So you know what I'm saying? Just like everybody else get clown. I talk about anybody and everybody. So therefore, I discuss well, I don't talk about, but I discuss anything and everybody that includes race issues and everything, race issues, sex issues, anything else. So this is why they call it a blunt truth, because the truth, the only truth, is nothing but the truth. So help me. I'm just talking about the last part. But okay, my peoples, I bid you good night, farewell, peace up, smoke up, and live.